In this quick video I'm going to show you how you can get started with ReactQL and install the CLI tool that will allow you to spawn a new starter kit on demand. All you need is Node. You can head over to node.js.org and download the latest version, which will bundle together npm, which is the package manager of Node, which we're going to be running in order to install ReactQL. Now these instructions are going to be the same whether you're using a Windows machine, Mac or Linux. All you need is Node installed. So just go ahead once you've got those and copy and paste this into either a terminal window if you're on Mac, or command prompt on Windows, or just open a shell in Linux. And you're going to go ahead and just paste that in, which is going to install the ReactQL tool globally on the system, so that's available to you through any path. I've already done this at this stage on my machine, so instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to head over to a folder I've created, and I'm going to run ReactQL new. So you just run that command once you've installed it. And this is sort of a wizard-like interface, so it will walk you through the options for your project and allow you to get started. So we'll set a project name. We'll call this ReactQL install test. Project description, I'll just go ahead with the default. We can specify a license at this point. It could be MIT, Apache, or unlicensed, or something like that. It will validate whatever we enter, so make sure that we're using a valid license, or unlicensed in this case. Where to install will be the current directory plus the name of the project, so I'll go ahead and leave that as the default. And finally, it'll ask me which version of the kit I would like to install. You can choose from plain ES6 JavaScript, which is the default kit, or you can install the TypeScript version. There are a few subtle differences between the two. For the most part, it's exactly the same feature set. You're going to be able to do all of the things that are advertised on reactql.org in both cases, but there are some subtle differences with regards to the build flow and type checking and things like that. Head over to the docs for more information. I'll just go ahead in this case and just download the JavaScript version. You can see once we've made our choices that it downloads the source code from GitHub, extracts the archive, and it writes a new package.json file using our answers already given. If we have Yarn installed on the machine, then it will use that as a first preference in order to install the required npm packages. If it doesn't, it will fall back to npm. What I'll do at this point is just pause the video and wait until we're installed. Okay, looks like we have liftoff, and you can see we're given this summary box at the bottom that shows us where we need to navigate in order to get at our source code. So I'll go ahead and do that now. And it gives us a couple of sample commands. Here we can start a dev server, and we can do that with npm start. So again, I'll just go ahead and copy paste that, and you can see that it runs this webpack command in order to generate a local development machine. You can see this takes maybe 5 to 10 seconds depending on the speed of your machine, and when all is finished it will spawn a development server on port 8080 on the local host. If we go over here to Chrome and just paste that in, you should be able to see a development version. We've got a message there from GraphQL that's pulled back from the live endpoint. You can see our routes are working, and there's a few other things on the page just to get us started. Now at this point we're able to actually just open this folder, so if I wanted to I could type atom in this case and the current folder name, and it will bring that in, and there we have our ReactQL install test code, and I can just go ahead at this point and actually start making some changes to the app. So just get rid of the docs for a second. So let's say we want to change something on this page. Home, let's say, maybe we want to change this. We don't want to say it's the home page, we want to call it start page or something like that. Go ahead and hit enter, and you can see within a couple of seconds that's changed. So that's the benefit to the development version. You're able to make changes to your code and see them reflected live in the browser. Let's say we now want to go ahead and produce a production bundle. Well, that's pretty simple too. I'll just head over to our next window. So we've already got the development machine running. We can actually just keep that running if we want to. This time we will copy and paste a little code from above, which says build for production. I'll just go ahead and I'll copy that and paste that in this window. And this will do pretty much the same thing. It will run this through Webpack as before, but in this case we're actually creating two versions or two bundles. We're creating one for the browser, which is going to be production grade, so we don't have source maps, all of the code's minified, things like that. We're also creating a web server that's going to run through Node, which we can actually deploy to production, which is going to be our public web server. And that's going to do things like server-side rendering and allow us to run this machine on the public web. So that's gone ahead and crunched that now. If we type ls dist into our distribution folder, you can see it's produced a bunch of files, so we know it's good to go. And we'll head over to the summary box again, and I'll just copy in the file command, which is to actually start the production server. We've built the code, now let's start the server. And we just type npm run server, and it will go ahead and do that. And now you can see if we change this to port 4000, for example, we're good to go. This is actually a production version. You'll see no difference between the two pages. They're identical, but you know that it's server-side when you go to developer view source, and you can see all of the source code is being piped back down to the browser. So it looks like we're working. There's one final command we can type if we don't want to run the last two commands as distinct commands. We can just type npm run build run, and that will actually go ahead and do both of those things at once, one after another. Now this is the same whether you use the JavaScript or the TypeScript version, so it's going to be identical. Of course, one of them is TypeScript code, one of them is JavaScript, and again, this should work on pretty much any machine. If you run into any issues, go ahead and check out the docs on reactql.org. That should be the first port of call. Or head over to GitHub and post an issue, and I'd be happy to help you out.